Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there tonight. Had yourselves a wonderful day, and I hope everyone has had a great weekend out there as it comes to an end, and it's definitely ending with a bang out there with this winter storm that is still impacting areas of the Midwest, through the Ohio Valley, areas of the Mid-South, into the Apps, and it's really starting to move into the Mid-Atlantic right now. So we're going to give you some updated information on this to really start this video, but the majority of the video is going to go into discussing the winter storm threat for the South, and we're going to talk about that in great detail in this video. But like I said, we'll start off the video by speaking on really the Mid-Atlantic. I'm not going to speak much on the Midwest anymore because this storm's moving in right now. I mean, what you got going on is what you got going on, right? So there's no point in really giving you any crazy updated information on that because, you know, it's falling out there right now. But we will give you one last really good detailed update on the Mid-Atlantic, and then we will move forward past this storm system. So I hope you folks are staying safe out there. This has definitely been one heck of a winter storm. We've even had a lot of severe weather, as you can tell down here. But if you're here to listen about the winter weather chances for the South, I got you covered. Timestamps will be up throughout the entire video. Jump ahead, utilize them. Everything will be sectioned out very well for you folks. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. So this is what's going on right now. Still snowing back here in the blue. The pink is maybe a sleet freezing rain mix. You know, that area of Missouri that I talked about is getting dry slotted a little bit. So this is maybe taken away a little bit from your totals. Let me know. Give me some reports from Missouri. I'll be able to read the comments tomorrow afternoon just to kind of get some updates from you folks. Let me know what you're seeing in Indiana, Ohio as far as storm totals. This is really starting to take over West Virginia now. You're right in the heart of it in, say, Kentucky, Indiana, Southern Ohio. And even though it shows green right here in the Mid-Atlantic, that is actually snow. And this is really starting to move into Maryland. Eventually, this will start to move and fully take over southern sections of PA and get all the way into the southern half of New Jersey, Delaware. So we still got a long ways to go. This storm is like over 1,000 miles wide when you compare it to the winter weather side. So if you stretch it from here to here, and there used to be a little thing I can do. Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to bother trying to mess with it. But this is a very large winter storm, a very dynamic storm system, I might add, too. So this is what's going on right now. Now let's go on and switch it to the HRRR model. And like I said, we're really just going to give you guys some updated information on the Mid-Atlantic just because, you know, the storm's pretty much happening right now across the Ohio Valley in the Midwest. So starting it off tonight, this is around what the HRRR model, a short-range model, is showing what's happening around 7 p.m. So we're going to continue to move this forward. It might start snowing before these time frames I give you, but this is around 10 p.m. Shows the snow moving into D.C. It might already be snowing there by the time some of you folks watch this, but it is going to snow heavily overnight into D.C., Baltimore area. And in fact, they've actually increased the snowfall totals, but I'm just going to kind of start spitting out times to you. This is 1 a.m. And just remember, the pink is the sleet. The freezing rain is in the purple, and then the blue is the snow. So this is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So as you're waking up tomorrow morning, you have a huge snowstorm just hitting almost the entire state of pretty much the entire state of Delaware, Maryland, northern VA, northern sections of West Virginia. Look how tight this snowfall gradient is. Someone is going to be very upset if you're a snow fan. But this makes it all the way up to New York City sometime tomorrow. You're still snowing like crazy in the D.C., Baltimore area. Philadelphia is getting snow. Atlantic City, the Jersey Shore, all of Delaware. How far south does this snow line get? It looks like it's north of like Richmond. But you continue to go here, and it does start to sneak some snow all the way up into Connecticut, Rhode Island. It's definitely snowing in Long Island. It'll be much colder up here, so even a light to moderate snow will accumulate. And then you enter a dry period, and I do think as the upper low kind of pulls through, as you're getting into tomorrow evening, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, you'll have some more moisture. They'll probably pull through, maybe dump an additional couple inches of snow on the ground, and this moves in, and this is where you could get a kind of a burst of snow all the way down to like Virginia Beach, Norfolk, maybe all the way down to northeast North Carolina, and then it begins to move out, and you kind of end late tomorrow evening, late tomorrow night is maybe a period of light to moderate snow, and then that's all she wrote with this. So what is some updated snowfall totals with this? This is PA. Grand totals, I mean, this was updated a couple hours ago, about an hour ago actually. Harrisburg 2 to 5, Gettysburg 4 to 9, Philadelphia anywhere from 1 to 5 inches of snow. I definitely think you'll get more than an inch of snow, but we'll see. We'll see what the grand total is with that. Pittsburgh 3 to 6 before it's all said and done. Cumberland down here 7 to 14. And yeah, I think I said Gettysburg already. Yeah, so really the southern sections of the state of PA is going to see the highest impacts. Now, we do switch it to Jersey here and Delaware and areas of extreme eastern Maryland. Easton, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Dover going for 8 to 12 inches of snow now. Trenton 2 to 3. Philadelphia 3 to 4. Wilmington 4 to 6. I think New York City, they're calling for around an inch of snow. And yeah, I mean, it's quite obvious the further south you get in New Jersey, closer to Delaware, the more snow that is forecasted, well over a half a foot. No ice expected in this area. They have increased snowfall about a few hours ago in the D.C. Baltimore area. Washington, D.C. bumped it up to 8 to 12 inches of snow forecasted, folks. You could almost get a foot of snow. I think the high-end possible totals from this is 16 inches. So, man, this has turned into a whopper of a snowstorm for you folks. Warrenton, 8 to 12, Fredericksburg, 8 to 12, Charlottesville now up to 6 to 8 inches of snow. Man, this is really trending into a big snowstorm for you guys. Baltimore 6 to 8, Hagerstown 6 to 8, Bel Air 6 to 8, Lexington Park 8 to 12. So definitely a big winter storm. Oakland 12 to 18 before it's all said and done. Cumberland 8 to 12. So ice is definitely possible, but they've definitely dropped the ice totals. They think that majority of this is going to be snow now. Once upon a time, like north central VA, like this area right here, we thought it was going to be an all-out ice storm. Does not look to be the case now. Now this area right here, southwest VA, you got a couple inches of snow, depending on where you were already. But they're calling for, this is happening right now in this area, but they're calling for another couple inches depending on your location. But this is the snow forecast for this region. And then this is ice. Now the ice will really start get going. It will start to get going overnight. Before it's all said and done, maybe around 0.2 of an inch of ice to a 1/4 inch of ice in Blacksburg, Roanoke, and Lynchburg, maybe a 1/10 to 0.2 of an inch of ice. This will definitely cause issues. Mixed with a little bit of snow already on the ground, your roads are already covered in certain areas. This is kind of the area that got a burst of snow, even all the way down to Greensboro. Winston-Salem, kind of in this area, got a really big burst of snow today that actually coated the roads depending on your location. And we spoke about that, the possibility of that, and it definitely overachieved in certain areas. Now, the latest from a couple hours ago from the National Weather Service out of like Richmond, Cambridge, 11 inches. Salisbury, almost 10 inches of snow forecast. You get down to the southern sections here, 3 to 4 inches of snow in Okomak, I think is how you say it, Richmond, 3 to 4. Louisa, 7 inches. Hopefully I said that right. Norfolk, about 0.4 of an inch. And, just get down here to kind of south of, kind of a little bit further down, 95, and maybe a few tenths of an inch of snow is possible. Maybe enough to coat the ground, maybe like at the back end of this storm system. And ice is forecasted here. Few inches of snow in Richmond with a 1/10 of an inch of ice. That's definitely going to cause issues, but definitely not a huge ice event in this area that is expected as of now. So that's my last update on that winter storm. Appreciate y'all trusting me with this storm. I picked up a lot of growth covering it. Stay safe out there. And by the time I wake up tomorrow morning, it will be still the winter storm, but of course it'll be ongoing. So a lot of our focus now after this is going to shift to this. Okay, so I know this looks like it was made in like 1992 or something, but just hang tight with me and we're going to explain it. So this is the Weather Prediction Center. These are the experts of the National Weather Service. So this is the chance of winter precipitation exceeding 1/2 inch liquid equivalent. So when you're looking this, and this is for Thursday morning into Friday morning, that 24-hour period, they're already going for, like in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they're going for a 30 to a 50% chance of a 1/4 inch of liquid equivalent of snow and sleet. And I know that's hard to understand, but imagine if you melted snow to see how much precipitation was in it. Say if they say, all right, you're going to get 1/2 inch of precipitation, but it all falls as snow. Well, it might be 4 to 6 inches of snow. So that's how they put it there. Basically, if you live in this dark green area that does include the Texarkana area, a portion of Louisiana, southwest Arkansas, and southeast Oklahoma, and then a good chunk of Texas. And this blue area, that's a 50 to 70% chance you are going to get measurable winter precipitation. This is definitely turning into a winter storm for Dallas coming up. Even the National Weather Service out of Dallas, Fort Worth is honking the horn at it. So we go on and progress into, this is Friday morning into the Saturday morning, okay? Chances are increasing for a winter storm across the Mid-South, the Western Carolinas, North Georgia, North Alabama, Northern Mississippi. That lighter shade of green, folks, that's a 10 to 30% chance of measurable winter weather. We might as well just leave it at that. Dark green, 30 to 50% chance. Okay, so chances are certainly increasing, and I will go another panel here. This is getting into the Mid-Atlantic, to the Northeast. This is getting into, say, Saturday into Sunday. You got that 10 to 30% chance. I like to just view this as you got a 10 to, like in this case, you got a certain percent chance to get a winter storm. That's how I really view it, because a quarter inch of winter weather could be a few inches of snow. It could be a quarter inch of freezing rain. That quarter inch is kind of that baseline. So hope that makes sense. Now the latest from model guides for the South Central U.S. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Southern Plains first. The South Central U.S., Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, these states. We will talk about Missouri also. Excuse me, losing my voice also. So we're starting it off Tuesday morning. Confused about the time frame? Look up here. I know it's kind of small on your screen, but JAN7, that's your time frame, because I'm going to forget to mention it some. So we start to get into Tuesday evening. Some light snow begins to come off the Rockies, some energy, and then we start to get into Wednesday morning. Light snow in western Texas, New Mexico. See the moisture's trying to bubble up down here in South Texas. And then we start to get it into Wednesday evening, and then we start to get it into Thursday morning. So you saw the progression of what's going on here. All of a sudden, a wintry mix breaks out. The pink is freezing rain. The orange is sleet. The blue is snow. Green is rain. So you start to get this wintry mix breaking out across Texas. And then we start to get into like Thursday evening, and then a major winter storm develops across the heart of Texas, all the way up to North Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you're getting kind of a wintry mix, and it goes to rain in the green. This is definitely going to be rain for southern southeast Texas. So if you've been tuning in from that area, hoping for a winter storm, this is definitely trended warmer. I know we had some crazy model runs a few days ago showing winter weather all the way down to Corpus Christi and Houston. Not so much anymore. But for Dallas-Fort Worth, and then maybe a little bit further south, winter storm. Okay, so we're getting into the middle of the night, Thursday into Friday, the 9th into the 10th. You got a major snowstorm ongoing in North Texas, Central Texas, and then we got snow starting to move into Little Rock, into Arkansas. How close does it get to Shreveport? Remember, this isn't exactly a forecast, but models are starting to converge, okay? We've been honking the horn at this signal for, 10 days now, it seems like, about how favorable the pattern was going to be. I made some thumbnails saying most favorable winter weather pattern in years or something like that. And here we are getting a winter storm, even though we've had a winter storm in this area of the country for quite, I think, a couple of them, a winter over the last few winters. But anyways, continue to move here. Snow is now like making it all the way to like Oklahoma City, Little Rock. You're getting a snowstorm. Snow is starting to move into Memphis Friday morning. All snow. Even in northern Mississippi, most of the state of most of the state of Arkansas is getting winter weather. And then it finally kind of tapers off into Friday night and then heads on out. This does bring snow all the way into southern Missouri, even into southern Illinois. Now, I do think the 18Z is running right now, but wow. No, okay, there it is. I was about to say, did it just make the storm disappear? I was like, what? Oh, that's not good. But same thing. We're getting the Thursday morning, and this is the latest 18Z Euro. So we got this now, and it looks kind of the same, but it looks like there's more mixing on the 18Z Euro. And then any kind of mixing does go to a snowstorm, and it looks colder. The run looks colder. Now you have more winter weather into northern Alabama. You compare that with the 12Z. Yeah, looks a little bit colder to me. Maybe not as amped up, but here we go. It looks like just more of a wintry mix, and it doesn't look like it just doesn't look as heavy. It looks like it's a quicker moving system. And if we compare this graphic with, say, the 18Z, Well, it doesn't necessarily look colder. It just looks like more wintry weather, more of a mix, honestly. But this would end up being a winter storm for Memphis as it continues to move through and then move on out. So, what about the GFS? The GFS has kind of been not as, I would say, significant with the winter storm aspect of this, but we're getting into Wednesday afternoon this week, and then we start to get into Thursday morning. And here comes a wintry mix developing across North Texas, blue is snow, green rain, pink freezing rain, and orange is sleet. And this does show a winter storm for the Dallas-Fort Worth area also. Snow getting into southern Oklahoma. We got freezing rain breaking out for the northern half of Louisiana. And it's definitely colder on the GFS. So we get an ice storm in northern Louisiana. We start to get ice in the Texarkana area. Northern areas of this is snow. It looks like you start out with snow in Little Rock, all ice in Shreveport. Start out with snow in Memphis. And it looks like just south of Memphis and Little Rock, it stays ice. And then we start to get into Friday, and then this heads on off. So, the latest Euro, and let's just keep it to the 18Z. Well, no, I mean, we might as well look at the 12Z because this is the new model data. So this is the entirety of the storm, latest. And I'm now showing you operational runs, as you've noticed. The latest Euro run. Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I can always tell because they're two squared counties right beside each other. I believe those are it. It's going from 9 to 10 inches of snow. Now this is 10-to-1 ratio. Not sure if it'll be like that, but you can see the sharp cutoff. Not going to show you freezing rain totals right yet because global models do not do well showing freezing rain. It overdoes it. So it's not going to be accurate is what I'm saying. Texarkana, those several inches, and we will look at Arkansas too. And you can see Oklahoma on this frame, few to several inches in Oklahoma. And then it brings a winter storm into Arkansas, into Memphis, a few inches of snow. And it could still be snowing in maybe some of these graphics. This only goes 144 hours out. So if we actually switch it to this and we continue to move forward here, about the same, a sizable winter storm for Arkansas. And listen, remember, some freezing rain will be on this side too. It brings a few inches of snow into Memphis, a few inches of snow into northern Mississippi, and a little bit of snow into southern Missouri. So that's the latest GFS. What about the Euro? This is the latest GFS. Latest one, still jackpots the Dallas-Fort Worth area with over a half a foot of snow and just a several inch snowfall events for northern and northeast Texas, and it just isn't as widespread out west. Few inches of snow into southern and southeastern Oklahoma, and then we do look at Arkansas in this graphic too. And it looks like it hits the southern areas of the state harder, several inches, and then it wants to give northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, northern Mississippi wants to give them 6 to 8 inches of snow, about a half a foot of snow in Memphis. Not a forecast, guys. We're just going through model data. Now the more reliable thing to look at here is the Euro ensemble and the GFS ensemble. Euro ensemble, which I don't think the 18Z has ran quite yet. So we'll just keep it at the 12Z run. And still, for over 24 to 36 hours straight now, it has pumped out over a 5-inch snowfall mean in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then look around it. See, the heart of Texas into North Texas, it's even pumping out a few inch snowfall mean. Remember, I keep saying mean because on the Euro ensemble, it puts together 50 runs. 25 members show this, 10 members show that, 5 members show this. All of them show something different. You put it all together, you create an average or a mean, and that's what shows up here. So, a few inch snowfall mean to Arkansas, and then a couple inch snowfall mean into Memphis. So, and remember, there's going to be an ice storm. I wouldn't say an ice storm necessarily. There might be, but there's going to be an ice element to this too. So there is a signal on the Euro ensemble for ice, a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice to maybe over a 1/10 of an inch of ice in these areas. So the ice signal was there too. And we switch it back to this, and we look at the latest GFS ensemble, and it's definitely not as aggressive as the Euro ensemble, but it certainly shows a few inch snowfall mean in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, northern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, into the heart of Arkansas. It really likes this area. But even further south, there's a signal here. So this is a solid signal from North Texas, southeast Oklahoma, into Arkansas, all the way into the western areas of the deep south and mid-south for a winter storm. I mean, it is there. it is certainly looking likely to happen. And we've been honking the horn at this for a while, and it certainly looks like it's going to materialize. Now, we do have the latest 18Z now for the Southeast, and I haven't looked at this yet. So I'm either going to be disappointed because I'm a winter weather fan, or, it's going to stay about the same, or I'll be happy. So starting 18Z Euro, this is around Thursday morning, January the 9th, right here. You can see it here if I forget to mention the days. And here it comes. Looks like we have an ice event breaking out across northern Alabama Friday morning. Freezing rain is in that pink. Sleet is in that orange. Blue is the snow. All snow in Memphis. This starts to bring an all snow event all the way up into Nashville. We start to get snow into Kentucky. And this is definitely all rain for like Columbia. Looks like you're getting some freezing rain down to Atlanta. But even like up in Huntsville, looks like it tries to switch to rain. And, the Euro, I would say, and I'm going to explain all this here in a second, but the Euro is coming in, and it is coming in, it looks like a little bit icier. And I'm about to compare and contrast here in a second. It is coming up a little bit more juiced up, but it really is coming in with an ice storm or just an ice event for like northeast Georgia through the upstate of South Carolina to Charlotte to Piedmont, North Carolina. And you got to really get up here into the mountains here to actually get snow out of this. And it hangs on to the idea of ice all the way to Raleigh, and then this clears out. But it's definitely too warm down here in, say, Columbia for any ice, and really Atlanta any ice, and points south and southeast North Carolina. So if you compare this with the 18Z Euro, I would say that it's a warmer run, less ice, more snow. Well, no, I should word that different. There's actually more ice, and I would say more ice on the 18Z, less ice on the 12Z, the older run. But yeah, it looks like there's a little bit more heavier winter precipitation further north on the latest 18Z. But this is what it looks like on the 12Z Euro. Looks like it's snowing here pretty good in northeast North Carolina, southeast VA, and then it gets too warm and switches to rain. So yeah, take that as you will. I'm telling, and I'm about to go over the GFS, and then I'll speak after that. So let's just talk about it, and then I'll add some things here. Latest GFS, it is just colder. Okay, so I'll stop it here. It's bringing some light snow all the way into Tennessee, heavy snow northern and kind of north west areas of Alabama like Florence, Huntsville, and then the pink, of course, is the freezing rain. And look at the light snow as far south is the southern Midlands of South Carolina. It actually brings a period of snow into Columbia, South Carolina, wintry mix into Atlanta, like Friday midday. I mean, that's crazy to think it's over the next few days. It's right out in front of us. And we keep going here. Wintry mix continues. And then, we got this winter storm on going up here in Tennessee too. This is all snow for Nashville. Starts to mix with some ice. Looks like Atlanta's getting a nasty icing event from this. We're getting a wintry mix of just everything up in the upstate of South Carolina. And the storm really warms up fast. It's pretty wild to me that we go from a winter storm in Dallas to just slop for the southeast, and it's just our cold air supply is not cooperating to make this a nice winter storm, or at least a nice snowstorm. It's turning into what looks like almost a cold air damming kind of deal. It looks like a hybrid storm for sure, but it stays all freezing rain in the upstate of South Carolina. This would be a significant ice storm. Getting into the Piedmont, this would be an ice storm, and stop it here is a more amped up scenario. So we get a snowstorm up here into Kentucky, West Virginia, and then in the pink, that is an ice storm going from Atlanta to Greenville, Spartanburg, all the way to Charlotte, back into Asheville. It's definitely a nasty icing scenario. We get freezing rain into Raleigh Saturday morning. In the timeline of this, for example, this is Friday evening, Friday night, getting into Saturday morning. And then what's interesting is as we're getting into Saturday night, the low begins to deepen rapidly. Totally different setup than the Euro. And then all of a sudden we're switching to really heavy winter weather here and say northern to northeast North Carolina. And then, likes the idea of a lot of back-end moisture with this. So we get a solid northwest flow behind the system in the mountains. And then it's done. So that's a lot, right? So the latest Euro, and we can actually go to the 18Z Euro. The latest Euro keeps the snow further north. It definitely does. It wants to paint about a few inches of snow into the Nashville area, a little bit of snow in northern Alabama, and it just really keeps the snow confined to just northern areas. It looks like the entire Southeast. I don't know what's going on with the atmosphere, and this is a joke. This is me being sarcastic. To why these winter storms just keep doing this. It's just like they just hop right over a good chunk of Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. Now, I think this is going to impact some of those states that I just mentioned pretty good. But it is pretty wild to me that just the atmosphere just is not cooperating. But this is the run from 12Z on the Euro, lighter snowfall total. So we're trending to more of an amped up look on the Euro, especially in this area. This is just a bunch of light totals up here for sure. Definitely heavier snowfall totals back west, and this little burst of snow here. But just realized, but yeah, no, we're good. So the GFS, this is what it looks like. All right, so it does take this stripe of heavy snow through Arkansas, northern Mississippi, right through the heart of Tennessee. It gives accumulating snow for everybody in Tennessee and Kentucky, and then it begins to bomb out in the Mid-Atlantic and just dumps just a ridiculous amount of snow into the Mid-Atlantic. And, for now, that's an outlier, but it's also a possibility, I would say. Drops snow into areas of North Carolina, puts a dusting of snow into South Carolina, northern areas of Georgia even gets a little bit of snow from this. So, what about the Euro Ensemble? Now, let's see if the 18Z has ran yet. It has not. So this is the latest Euro Ensemble. Now, I will say that you still have some members in the ensemble that are suppressed. They're just too cold. It's a weaker storm system. But you still have a 1 to 2 inch snowfall mean across areas of Alabama, there's even a solid snowfall mean all the way down into Birmingham for southern standards. Atlanta. And then, you start to get into the Midlands of South Carolina. There's a spread. Charlotte, 1 to 2 inch snowfall mean. So there's still snowier members into this. So that's a solid footprint of snow here. Now, one thing that has just gotten done running, and it's definitely got the weather community juiced back up again, is the latest GFS ensemble was wild. When you look at the 18Z run, you can see it's not overly impressive at all. But if you look at the latest 18Z, it definitely juiced up the members again. So you got over a 3 inch snowfall mean in the Greenville Spartanburg area to Charlotte. Even Atlanta has a couple inch snowfall mean. It's not as impressive back here in, say, like Nashville, but northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, you got a couple inch snowfall mean and just a 3 to 4 to even 5 inch snowfall mean in these areas. And as you take a look, and I want to do this with you guys for a minute, as you take a look at, say, the individual members, it's going to be very hard to see on your screen. You can see some big events in this as we're getting going here. Let's see. Here it is, right here. I was looking at the wrong storm. So here it is. This is for like Friday midday, right? If you look at, for example, member 26 over here shows snow all the way down to Savannah. Member 07 is just a big snowstorm for the Deep South. We got a lot of scenarios here. Like member 6 right here, that's a more significant ice. If you notice, some of these members show a lot of pink and some of them don't. And then a lot of these members slam the Mid-South. Some of these members are more ice further south, like 29 over here shows an icing event of a major ice storm for like the Midlands. We got member 12 right here that shows just an all-out major winter storm for the Carolinas. There's a lot of options still flying around out here, guys. So I think we just got a lot of time before we figure this one out. And the thing is if you continue the members here, there's a lot of energy back behind this too. I just don't think we're going to be done tracking after this. But that ice signal, folks, you can see the footprint of ice on the Euro Ensemble. There's definitely an ice signal across the Deep South. You can see it here, and it really increases as we start to move, say, in this area. Let's move this in time. Ignore all the hefty totals you see right here. It's really just look at this right here. Okay. It's definitely a signal for ice. So what about the Northeast? I think that this could turn into something for you guys. The GFS is the aggressive run, and here it comes, bringing a massive winter storm for the Mid-Atlantic. And then it turns into a 965 millibar low Saturday night into Sunday of next weekend. And that is a major blizzard for the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, getting into southern New England. And that is just a bomb of snow. I'm talking about 30, 40 inches of snow if something like that was to happen, on top of the snowstorm you're just about to move in right now. But the Euro says, and let's see the end of the 18 Euro. The Euro is coming in a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more snow for the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, but it still is not going to end up anything like 998. It's not going to end up like the GFS, but I will say it is a lot closer than the 12Z. So it looks like the Euro is trending more amped up like the GFS for the Northeast. But I will tell you, the Euro and the GFS do not agree with a major winter storm for the Northeast. And if you do look at the Euro ensemble, you can see the heavier signals down here in the Mid-Atlantic. But for that time period of this weekend, it's a very low signal once you get into the southern New England area. Only not even an inch snowfall mean for, say, like southern New England. Now, if you look at, say, the GFS ensemble for the same range, what's interesting is the GFS ensemble does not support its op at all. So if you're a snow weather fan, you're disappointed by that. But the GFS ensemble does not support the operational run of a blizzard at all. For example, the GFS wanted to print out 25 to 40 inches of snow across the Mid-Atlantic. Well, the GFS ensemble only gives you a couple inches. So something to watch. Now, explain the setup. If you look at we look at the GFS here, and I'm just going to make this as simple as possible. Old arrow there. There's a lot of energy out here. We got energy right here. We got energy right here. We got this trough extending right here. This is kind of our cold air supply. We got a lot of energies right here. And we've been talking about this one nonstop. It's kind of our Baja low. How does this interact with this? Okay. The latest GFS gets these to tangle up together and does phase them, kind of phases this energy. And this is why this is ultimately a larger system on the GFS. They connect right down here near the Mississippi Valley, become neutrally tilted over the deep south, and then turns into a more powerful storm system. You see how they kind of wrap up on the GFS? It gets negatively tilted right here, turns into a gnarly looking swirl, and that's what gives you, we talk about that negative tilt, how that means a stronger storm system, but that's what gives you that blizzard scenario on the GFS. Systems really wrap up. Now, if you look at the GFS ensemble, now this is going to be kind of a smoothed out look here. All right, here it comes. You can tell that a lot of members do not merge, and that's why you're seeing this energy kind of extending out to the southwest here. And you can tell that there's a lot of members that the timing of the phase is a little bit later, which would help out some people and then not help out some people. It really, there's not a scenario where one scenario is going to work out for everybody. You're going to have one scenario that's going to leave people hanging for winter weather, and then that's going to be golden for them, and then vice versa. So the GFS ensemble is definitely not supporting a bomb developing low pressure off the coast of the eastern U.S. It really is not. Now you back all that up and say you look at the GFS, the latest one. See what happens here, kind of drops this energy down here, and then here comes our northern stream energy right into here. Is that going to dive down with it? Well, it does. It kind of connects it, but it gets strung out. You see how this thing is tilting like this? It's just an improper kind of phase here. It's positively tilted. And then we got some energy shooting down here, and it kind of interferes with everything. And this thing's going to kind of shoot down here, but if you want this to kind of come down here, it needs to come down here faster. So in general, it's just weird, if you ask me. The latest Euro just it is trending towards a more amped up scenario, but it looks like it's more so using northern stream, but instead of the southern, look at this weird little strand right here. Instead of the southern stream, it looks like this is more so northern stream dominated. It looks like you're just using more energy kind of coming out of this area right here instead of your energy down here. That kind of mainly gets left behind, and it adds a little bit of juice to the system, but not much. And then, we've talked about this too, guys. At the end of the day, you really need this thing over here to cooperate more. This area over here, for this to kind of work out for a lot more people, we really need this to stay anchored like over here. So this blue area needs to kind of extend out like this. Now, this is going to run the risk of suppression, but if you're wanting winter weather further to the south, that would add a lot more cold air into the mix. But then again, you would run the risk of this energy right here getting shredded and suppressed. So there's it's a headache. This is a tough one. It's a fun one to figure out, but it's a tough one. That's for sure. That's all I got. Thank you for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and stay safe tonight.